Welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. It is the Tuesday after Super Bowl Sunday, so we all took Monday off when it comes to football, but now that it's Tuesday, time to start looking ahead to futures odds for Super Bowl 2015, and we're going to talk about everything with Troy West from allplayswin.com, who gave us a winner on the Super Bowl with Seattle plus 2.5. Troy, thanks for being back with us.
Hey, thanks a lot, Pete. I appreciate it. What a fantastic game. Great way to close out our NFL season with SBR videos and another great NFL season at allplayswin.com.
Well, let's recap your year for a second. You started off the year giving us a pick with a winner with the Seattle area team in college football, Washington over Boise State, and that was an awesome pick, cleared by a mile. You said that pick was one of your favorite picks, was going to be one of your favorite picks of the year, and it was an easy cover. And then you came back, nailed the Super Bowl again with the Seattle area team.
Hey, Pete, we follow these teams so closely. I don't think people understand, and I really try to take an unbiased approach to it.
Right.
But you got to understand, when you're reading the newspapers every day, you're able to catch some practices, you're seeing these games live on a constant basis. We truly feel like we have an edge when we go into these games because we feel like we know these teams much better than even Las Vegas knows the teams or the guys that are throwing out the line. So, yesterday was a game that we were very confident in the Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks, and it paid dividend to know a team like we did.
This year was kind of easy for you, though, because Seattle won the Super Bowl. If things take a downturn with Seattle area teams, are you going to have a good read on them being good fades as well?
No, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of these Seattle sport teams, like the Seattle Mariners, for example, a team we love to bet against. It's not necessarily a biased thing. Just so happens I've been in this area for 27 years. You get a pretty good vibe on particular teams. But, again, in the Pac-12 conference, we follow Washington State, Washington very closely, Gonzaga really closely. There's a lot of teams that we follow closely. The Seahawks are one of them. In 2013 with Seattle area teams, we covered over 80%. It's a pretty impressive number. So we're going to continue to grind with them. People can say it's a biased look at it. We think it's just a confidence look at it and how closely we're able to follow these teams.
Now let's get your thoughts on, possible futures value, possible futures bets for 2015 NFL. The Seahawks, pretty much shut the door on any questions about them in the Super Bowl. So I guess they're going to be the favorite to win the 2015 Super Bowl as well, right?
Arguably, they've got to be the favorite, right? I mean, I think this team probably has a lesser chance to make it back as maybe the Denver Broncos. As I was talking with some people, Seattle had to go to the Saints. You've got the 49ers. You've got the Carolina Panthers. You've got Green Bay, who's probably going to be better next year. So the road to get back for Seattle, much tougher road, but you got to think they're the favorite, right, Pete?
I guess so, but what about, that the general common wisdom that it's just super tough to repeat as a Super Bowl champion, that you want to, in general, bet against the Super Bowl champs, in the futures bets and in their at least opening week spreads?
Yeah, much like other teams in the past, Pete, you look at teams like the Baltimore Ravens, who didn't even make the playoffs after a Super Bowl. Right. You look at what the Giants have done. A lot of these teams have major hiccups in the next season, but I truly believe that this Seattle team is different. They're going to get just about everybody back. They're an extremely young team. They've got one of the most motivated coaches in the NFL. I don't think this team's going to have a Super Bowl fallout. And all their coordinators are coming back, which I think is a big deal because a lot of these guys were being offered head coaching jobs. They'll be back in Seattle as well. So I think the Super Bowl hiccup is not going to happen in Seattle.
What are some other teams that you think might, be on the upswing next year and might have some value either on their spreads or their futures odds?
I think Green Bay Packers will be a lot more improved this next season with Aaron Rodgers coming back for a full year. As long as he stays healthy, they've got a great running back in Eddie Lacy, the Rookie of the Year. They bring back, I think they got a lot of guys that were banged up last year on defense that'll be back. I think the Packers may have a little bit of value, and you're going to see a much more improved Packer team that we've seen in the past. I think a lot of this year, Pete, you're going to see a lot of these teams that were already there be back. You got to think the 49ers will be back. Right. The Panthers are young. They bring back everybody. They'll be back. Where do the Saints go? I know Drew Brees is aging. Their defense looked a little at the end of the year, so it'll be interesting to see where they're at.
Okay, and what's a team that you think might be headed for a bit of a downfall next year, if not the Seahawks?
Yeah, the New England Patriots, to me, Peter, are a team that could possibly be on the downfall. I think they just looked bad against the Denver Broncos. They've been banged up. They're starting to lose guys on defense. Where are they going to be? Are they going to get some big draft picks or make some offseason moves? I really think this is a team that got lucky towards the end of the year, Pete. They pulled off a lot of last-minute comebacks against mediocre ball clubs. So if New England doesn't do that, they may have missed the playoffs. I think coming into this next year, I know it's Brady Belichick, but I think they're going to take a hit. And I think they may be lucky to make the playoffs next year.
What thoughts do you have in general concerning anything regarding the NFL next year? Any other teams, any other players that you think might have some impact on betting value?
Yeah, obviously the Peyton Manning thing is going to be huge. What's going to happen with his evaluation in March? Is he going to come back next year with a chip on his shoulder after the embarrassing Super Bowl loss? Or is he going to hang it up and ride into the wind with a loss like he just had 43-8? That's a big question mark to me. I think if he comes back healthy with a chip on his shoulder, the Denver Broncos, you've got to think are going to be back in the Super Bowl, Pete. There just wasn't a team in the AFC that could really match up with the Denver Broncos. The NFC, different story. So that's a big one to me, Pete.
Okay. What do you think? Let me quickly get your take on just the Panthers, right? They have some huge positives, don't they? Cam Newton at times looked awesome. The front seven was dominant.
No, absolutely. I think if you look at the NFC, at least going into it right now, between the Seattle Seahawks, the Carolina Panthers, and the San Francisco 49ers, three teams built very similarly. Three mobile quarterbacks, which seems to be the new trend in the NFL, and three really good defenses. So I think Carolina will be back, Pete. Absolutely. They just signed their coach to an extension. You got to like the fact that another year with Cam Newton under his belt. I think in the draft, they're going to go after receiver to help out that passing game. We know the defense is already there. So I fully expect Carolina to be right back where they were with that first round bye.
All right. Well, some of the speculation that I've seen is put them at 25-1 to win the Super Bowl. Do you think if those are the odds that actually come out, that might have some value?
Absolutely. No, I think this would be a really good football team. I'm going to be really curious to see what they do in the draft. I do think they're a good, solid move away from being a Super Bowl team, but at 25-1, I truly think those are great odds, Pete.
All right, Troy West from allplayswin.com. Once again, congratulations on your great year with us. Thanks so much for all your free picks that you gave us, including your winner on the Super Bowl on Seattle. You absolutely nailed that one, and we'll talk to you again very soon.